is a divine presence that loves you, guides you, and provides for you abundantly. But to receive the full measure of these blessings, you must open the door through faith. Faith is not just hope, it is knowing that God is working for your highest good, even when you cannot see it yet. When you trust in Him completely, you align yourself with the infinite abundance He has prepared for you. Faith is the bridge between uncertainty and divine assurance. It is the unwavering trust that no matter how things may appear on the surface, God is working everything together for your highest good. Faith is what allows you to step forward even when you cannot see the whole path. It is the quiet confidence that whispers, "I am safe, I am guided, I am supported." But to fully embrace this truth, we must first release fear and doubt, two of the greatest barriers to receiving God's blessings. Fear and doubt creep in when we forget who we are and whose we are. They arise when we rely too much on our limited human understanding rather than trusting in the infinite wisdom of the divine. Fear tells us that we are alone, that we are not enough, that we will never have what we need. Doubt convinces us that perhaps God's promises are not meant for us, that maybe we are unworthy of His love and abundance. These are the voices that keep us small, that hold us back from stepping into the fullness of our potential. But faith dissolves these illusions. Faith is the knowing that God is always present, always providing, always making a way, even when we cannot see it. Imagine a child learning to walk. At first they are unsteady, unsure of their footing. They may hesitate, afraid to fall. But what gives them the courage to take that first step? It is trust. Trust in the loving hands that will catch them if they stumble. Trust in the unseen strength within them that will help them rise again if they do. That is faith in action. When we approach life with that same trust in God, we stop letting fear control us. We understand that even if we falter, we will not fall beyond His reach. Many people hold back in life because they are afraid of failure. They fear making the wrong decision, stepping outside of their comfort zone, or taking a leap of faith. But what is failure in the eyes of God? It is simply a lesson, a stepping stone, a necessary part of growth. Faith allows us to see obstacles, not as roadblocks, but as redirections. When one door closes, it is because another, something even greater, is opening. But if we let doubt take hold, we may miss the blessing entirely. We may turn away too soon, not realizing that the breakthrough was just around the corner. Faith is a choice. It is a decision to believe that no matter what happens, God is in control. It is not based on circumstances. It is not dependent on whether things are going our way at the moment. Faith is a commitment to trust, even when everything around us is uncertain. It is easy to have faith when life is smooth, when prayers are answered quickly, when everything falls into place effortlessly. But true faith is tested in the waiting, in the moments of struggle, in the times when the answer is not yet visible. Think of the stories in Scripture. How often do we see people facing impossible situations only to be delivered when they place their trust in God? The Israelites at the Red Sea, with the enemy behind them and the waters before them, could have given in to fear. Instead, they chose faith, and the sea parted. David, standing before Goliath, could have doubted his own strength, but he trusted in God, and with just a single stone, he triumphed. Again and again, we see that when faith leads the way, miracles follow. The same is true in our lives. When we release fear and choose faith, we align ourselves with divine possibilities. We open the door to solutions we could never have imagined. We shift our focus from what is lacking to what is possible. We stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start declaring, "God is guiding me and I cannot fail." Faith turns worry into peace, doubt into confidence, and obstacles into opportunities. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen faith is through gratitude. When we thank God in advance, before we see the results, we affirm our trust in Him. Gratitude is faith in action. It is saying, I know that everything I need is already on its way. I trust that God's plan is unfolding perfectly, even if I do not see every step right now. This mindset shifts our energy from lack to abundance, from fear to assurance. If you find yourself struggling with doubt, take a deep breath and remind yourself of all the times God has already provided for you. Think back to moments when you didn't know how things would work out, yet somehow they did. That same divine power is still at work in your life today. You are not alone. So release the fear, let go of the doubt, stand firm in faith, and know that as you do, God's blessings will flow into your life in ways beyond your imagination. The more you trust, the more you will see His abundance unfold before you. God's abundance is limitless, it is vast, infinite, and beyond human comprehension. Yet many people live with a mindset of scarcity, believing that there is never enough. Never enough time, never enough money, never enough love, never enough opportunities. But this belief is not in alignment with the divine truth. The truth is that God's supply is endless, and there is more than enough for everyone. When we open our hearts and minds to this reality, we begin to experience the fullness of His blessings in every area of our lives. The world may try to convince us that resources are limited, that success is reserved for a select few, that some people are simply lucky while others are destined to struggle. But this is a false perception based on fear and lack. In God's kingdom, there is no competition, no shortage, no scarcity. He has already created an abundant universe where everything you need is available to you. The key is not to chase after abundance, but to align yourself with it, to believe that it is already yours, and to receive it with gratitude. Imagine the ocean. No matter how much water you take from it, the ocean never runs dry. You could stand on the shore with a small cup, or you could come with a vast container. The ocean does not limit what it gives, you do. In the same way, God's abundance is always flowing, always available, always ready to pour into your life. But how much you receive depends on how much you believe you are worthy of receiving. If you approach life with a mindset of lack, thinking that there is only so much to go around, you will find yourself struggling. But when you shift your mindset to one of abundance, knowing that God's supply is infinite, you will begin to see blessings flow to you in unexpected ways. God's abundance is not just about material wealth. It is about love, joy, peace, health, and fulfillment. It is about the overflow of goodness in every area of your life. Some people believe that being spiritual means rejecting abundance, that wanting a life of prosperity is somehow wrong, but this is not true. God does not want you to live in lack. He wants you to thrive, to be blessed, to have more than enough so that you can also bless others. Abundance is not selfish. It is a reflection of God's generosity. The more you have, the more you can give. The more joy you experience, the more joy you can share. The more you allow yourself to receive, the more you become a vessel through which blessings can flow to others. Sometimes people block their own blessings because they feel unworthy. They may think, why would God bless me? I haven't done enough. I'm not good enough. But God's love and abundance are not based on your past, your mistakes, or your perceived shortcomings. They are based on His nature, and His nature is unlimited love. Just as the sun does not decide who deserves its warmth, God's abundance is freely given to all who are willing to receive it. You do not have to struggle to earn it. You simply have to accept it. One of the greatest ways to align with God's abundance is through gratitude. When you focus on what you already have rather than what you lack, you attract more blessings into your life. Gratitude shifts your energy. It tells the universe, I see the blessings, I appreciate them, and I am ready for more. Instead of worrying about what is missing, start giving thanks for what is already present. The more you acknowledge the abundance around you, the more it will expand. Faith is another key to unlocking the limitless blessings of God. If you believe that His supply is limited, you will experience lack. But when you trust that He is an endless source of provision, you step into a life of overflow. Sometimes blessings do not come in the way we expect. We may be looking for a financial breakthrough, but instead, God sends us an opportunity. We may be asking for a specific answer, but instead He gives us wisdom to find our own solution. Faith allows us to recognize that blessings come in many forms and that they are always arriving in perfect, divine timing. If you have been living with a scarcity mindset, it is time to let it go. It is time to release fear, worry, and limitation. It is time to embrace the truth that you are already connected to an infinite source of love, prosperity, and joy. You do not have to chase abundance. It is already here, waiting for you to claim it. Open your heart, expand your vision, and allow yourself to receive all that God has prepared for you. There is no limit to His goodness, and there is no limit to what is possible for you. Faith has the power to transform the way we see the challenges in our lives. Where others see barriers, faith sees pathways. Where doubt whispers of defeat, faith speaks of possibilities. When we place our trust in God, we shift from a mindset of limitation to one of expansion. Obstacles no longer hold us back. Instead, they become the very stepping stones that lead us to our greatest breakthroughs. Many people allow obstacles to discourage them. They see difficulties as signs to turn back, as proof that their dreams are impossible. But faith teaches us something different. Faith tells us that challenges are not here to stop us, but to strengthen us. When we look at life through the eyes of faith, we begin to understand that every setback carries the seed of a greater blessing. Throughout history, some of the greatest stories of triumph began with hardship. Consider the lives of those who faced adversity yet rose to greatness. The common factor in their journey was faith. They refused to let obstacles define them. Instead, they trusted that God had a plan even when they could not see the full picture. And because of that faith, their obstacles became opportunities for growth, transformation, and divine intervention. When we encounter difficulties, we have a choice. We can allow fear and doubt to take over, or we can lean into faith and trust that God is leading us towards something greater. Every obstacle we face is an invitation to deepen our faith. It is an opportunity to strengthen our spiritual muscles and develop resilience. The bigger the challenge, the greater the opportunity for growth. Imagine a person standing before a closed door. Without faith, they might assume that the door is locked forever, that they are not meant to go beyond it. They might give up, never realizing that all they needed to do was knock, or perhaps push a little harder. But faith sees the door differently. Faith knows that if one door is closed, another will open. And if the door remains shut, then there must be another path waiting to be discovered. This shift in perspective is what allows people of faith to turn obstacles into opportunities. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of feeling defeated, they trust that God is using this situation to prepare them for something greater. Faith replaces frustration with patience, fear with confidence, and doubt with certainty. One of the most powerful examples of faith in action is found in the story of David and Goliath. The giant before David was not just an obstacle, he was an opportunity for David to step into his destiny. If there had been no Goliath, there would have been no victory. David's faith turned what looked like an impossible challenge into a defining moment of triumph. This is the power of faith. It takes what seems impossible and turns it into a testimony of God's greatness. In our own lives, we face giants of different kinds: financial struggles, health challenges, broken relationships, lost opportunities. At first, these giants may seem overwhelming, but faith reminds us that no obstacle is greater than God's power. What looks like a setback is often a setup for something extraordinary. The very situation that seems to be working against us may be the one that leads us to our greatest blessings. Faith also teaches us patience. Sometimes obstacles are not removed right away because they serve a higher purpose. A delay is not a denial. When things do not happen on our timeline, it does not mean that God has forgotten us. It simply means that He is preparing something even better than what we imagined. If you find yourself facing an obstacle today, take a deep breath and remember that it is not the end of the story. Every difficulty carries within it a lesson, a blessing, and an opportunity for growth. Instead of resisting the challenge, lean into it with faith. Ask God to show you the hidden opportunity within the difficulty. Trust that He is making a way, even if you cannot yet see it. The more you exercise faith, the more you will see obstacles transform before your eyes. You will begin to see doors open where there were none before. You will witness how what once seemed like a burden becomes a blessing. And you will understand that nothing is ever truly against you. Everything is working for your highest good. So hold on to faith. Trust in God's plan. Know that what appears to be an obstacle today is simply the pathway to something greater. With faith, every challenge becomes an opportunity, and every difficulty becomes a stepping stone toward the abundant life that God has promised. Gratitude is the language of faith. It is the expression of trust in the divine, a declaration that we believe in God's goodness even before we see the full manifestation of His blessings. When we cultivate gratitude, we align ourselves with the abundance of the universe and open the doors for more blessings to flow into our lives. Gratitude is not just about saying thank you for what we have received. It is about living with a heart that trusts in God's provision, no matter the circumstances. Faith and gratitude are inseparable. Faith is the belief in things unseen, the confidence that God is working behind the scenes even when life appears difficult. Gratitude is the outward expression of that faith. When we give thanks, we are affirming our belief that everything is happening for our highest good, even if we do not yet understand how. It is easy to feel grateful when everything is going well, when blessings are visible, when prayers are answered, when life is smooth. But true gratitude, the kind that is rooted in faith, is expressed even in times of uncertainty. When we face challenges, the natural reaction is to worry, complain, or feel discouraged. But when we shift our mindset to one of gratitude, everything changes. Instead of focusing on what is missing, we focus on what is present. Instead of dwelling on difficulties, we acknowledge the hidden blessings within them. Gratitude does not mean ignoring hardships. It means choosing to see God's hand at work even in the midst of them. A heart filled with gratitude does not wait for everything to be perfect before giving thanks. It gives thanks now, in this moment, with the understanding that God's plan is unfolding exactly as it should. Imagine planting a seed. You do not see the tree immediately, but you water the seed, nurture it, and trust that growth is happening beneath the surface. Gratitude works in the same way. It is the watering of faith, the nourishment that allows our blessings to grow and manifest. When we express gratitude, we magnify our blessings. What we focus on expands. If we focus on lack, we experience more lack. If we focus on abundance, we experience more abundance. Gratitude is a powerful spiritual practice because it shifts our attention from what we do not have to what we do have. It transforms our perspective, allowing us to see that we are already surrounded by blessings. The more we recognize and appreciate these blessings, the more we attract into our lives. Gratitude also keeps us in harmony with God's will. It reminds us that we are not in control of everything, and that is a good thing. When we trust in divine timing and give thanks for what is, we release the need to control outcomes. We surrender to the flow of life, knowing that God is guiding us in the best possible direction. This trust removes anxiety and fear, replacing them with peace and confidence. Even in difficult times, There is always something to be grateful for. Perhaps it is the lessons we are learning, the strength we are developing, or the unexpected kindness we receive from others. Every situation, no matter how challenging, carries a hidden gift. When we choose to focus on these gifts, we shift our energy from despair to hope. Gratitude is also a form of worship. When we thank God, we acknowledge His presence in our lives. We affirm that He is our source, our provider, and our guide. The more we express gratitude, the closer we feel to Him. Gratitude strengthens our faith, deepens our spiritual connection, and reminds us that we are never alone. If you want to see more miracles in your life, begin with gratitude. Start each day by giving thanks for what you have. Before you ask for anything, acknowledge the blessings that are already present. Speak words of appreciation for the simple things, the air you breathe, the roof over your head, the love in your life. As you do this, you will notice a shift. You will feel lighter, more joyful, and more at peace. Living with gratitude does not mean that life will always be easy. Challenges will come, but gratitude changes how we face them. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, we feel empowered. Instead of seeing obstacles, we see opportunities. Gratitude is the bridge between faith and manifestation. It is the key that unlocks joy, abundance, and divine favor. So choose gratitude today. Let it be your daily practice, your way of speaking faith into existence. Know that every time you give thanks, you are affirming your trust in God's goodness. You are aligning yourself with the flow of blessings, opening your heart to receive more than you ever imagined. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it is a way of life, a reflection of faith, and a direct path to the limitless abundance of God. The words we speak have power. Every word we utter carries energy, shaping our reality, influencing our emotions, and directing the course of our lives. When we speak words of faith, we activate divine forces that bring our desires and dreams into existence. Faith is not just about believing in the unseen, it is about declaring it boldly, speaking it into existence, and trusting that God is working behind the scenes to bring it to pass. Many people underestimate the power of their words. They speak doubt, fear, and negativity without realizing that their words create their experiences. If you constantly say, "Nothing ever works out for me," then you reinforce that belief in your subconscious mind and attract more difficulties. But if you declare with conviction, "God is making a way for me," then doors will begin to open, even where there seem to be none. Faith is not silent, it speaks. When God created the world, He did not simply think creation into existence. He spoke it. "Let there be light," and there was light. The same principle applies to our lives. When we declare our faith through words, we are co-creating with God, aligning our thoughts, emotions, and actions with His divine plan. Our words act as seeds that take root and grow into the life we envision. It is easy to speak words of faith when everything is going well, but the true test comes in difficult moments, when obstacles arise, when dreams seem delayed, when nothing appears to be changing. This is when speaking faith becomes crucial. It is in these moments that we must resist the temptation to complain, doubt, or give up. Instead, we must declare God's promises with confidence. I am blessed. I am favored. I am guided. Everything is working together for my good. When we speak our faith, we shift our focus from fear to trust, from lack to abundance, from struggle to victory. Words of faith do not just change our circumstances, they change us. They build inner strength, increase resilience, and align our energy with divine possibilities. The more we declare our faith, the more we feel empowered, confident, and at peace. Some may wonder, what if I don't feel faith in the moment? What if I am struggling with doubt? The beauty of speaking faith is that you do not need to feel it fully before declaring it. Speak it anyway. Declare victory even when you feel weak. Proclaim abundance even when resources seem scarce. Say, I am healed even before the physical evidence appears. Words have the power to shift emotions, and over time, your belief will align with your declaration. This does not mean denying reality. It means choosing to focus on God's power instead of the problem. If you are struggling financially, you do not have to ignore your situation, but instead of saying, I am broke, you can say, God is providing for me in unexpected ways. If you are facing illness, instead of saying, I am sick, declare, I am strong and my body is healing. By speaking words of faith, you invite God's power into your situation and allow miracles to unfold. There are countless examples of people who transformed their lives through the words they spoke. Those who overcame impossible odds, who rose from failure to success, who turned pain into purpose, all had one thing in common. They refused to let their words align with their struggles. Instead, they spoke faith. They spoke victory. And in doing so, they activated God's abundance in their lives. One of the greatest lessons about speaking faith is persistence. You may not see immediate changes, but do not be discouraged. Seeds take time to grow. A farmer does not plant a seed one day and expect a full harvest the next. He waters it, nurtures it, and trusts the process. The same applies to your words. Keep declaring, keep believing, keep speaking life over yourself. Over time, you will begin to see the fruits of your faith manifest in ways greater than you imagine. It is also important to surround yourself with words of faith. What you listen to, read, and engage with influences your mindset. Fill your environment with positive affirmations, scripture, and uplifting conversations. Be mindful of the company you keep, for words of doubt and negativity from others can weaken your faith. Choose to be in spaces that uplift you, encourage you, and remind you of God's promises. Today, make a conscious decision to speak faith into existence. No matter what you are facing, declare victory. Speak blessings over your life. Speak healing, abundance, success, and peace. Let your words align with God's plan for you. Remember, every word you speak is a seed being planted. Make sure you are planting words that will bear the fruit of the life you desire. Trusting God's timing and plan is one of the most powerful acts of faith. It requires patience, surrender, and the understanding that what is meant for you will never miss you. In a world that constantly pushes for immediate results, it can be challenging to wait on divine timing. Yet when we fully trust in God's plan, we release the stress of trying to control everything and open ourselves to a life of peace, purpose, and abundance. Life does not always unfold the way we expect. There are moments when we pray for something, believing we are ready, yet it does not come to pass. We may wonder why doors remain closed, why opportunities slip away, or why challenges seem to block our path. But what we often fail to see in those moments is that God's timing is perfect. Every delay has a purpose, and every closed door is a form of divine protection. Sometimes we are being prepared for what we have asked for. Other times, God has something even greater in store. Waiting is not a punishment. It is a process of growth. When things do not happen on our timeline, it does not mean God has forgotten us. It simply means He is aligning everything for the right moment. A seed does not sprout the instant it is planted. It must go through a period of development beneath the soil, where it strengthens and prepares to break through the surface. The same principle applies to our lives. When we trust God's timing, we understand that delays are not denials. They are opportunities for us to grow in faith, wisdom, and resilience. One of the biggest challenges in trusting God's plan is letting go of control. We often think we know what is best for us, but our vision is limited. We see only a small piece of the picture, while God sees the entire masterpiece. When we try to force things to happen before their time, we may find ourselves frustrated, exhausted, and disheartened. But when we surrender to divine timing, we allow God to work things out in ways that far exceed our expectations. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means releasing the need to figure everything out. It means stepping back and allowing God to guide us. It means trusting that even when things do not make sense right now, they are all part of a greater plan. The waiting period is where our faith is tested and strengthened. It is where we learn patience, perseverance, and trust. Have you ever looked back on your life and realized that something you once desperately wanted would not have been right for you? Maybe you prayed for a relationship that later proved to be unhealthy. Maybe you wished for an opportunity that would have led you away from your true purpose. In hindsight, we often see that what we thought was a setback was actually a set-up for something greater. When God says not yet, it is because He is preparing something far better than we could imagine. Trusting God's timing also means embracing the present moment. Too often we become so focused on the future, on what we want, on what is coming, that we forget to appreciate where we are right now. Every season of life has value, even the ones that feel slow or uncertain. There are lessons to be learned, experiences to be embraced, and growth that needs to happen before we step into the next chapter. When we trust that we are exactly where we need to be, we find peace in the present and excitement for the future. Faith is not just about believing that God will come through. It is about knowing that He already has everything under control. It is about finding comfort in the unknown, knowing that divine timing is never late, never early, but always right on time. Even when we cannot see the full picture, we can trust that every step, every delay, and every redirection is leading us toward our highest good. Instead of worrying about when things will happen, shift your focus to preparing yourself for what is coming. Use the waiting period to develop your faith, to strengthen your character, and to deepen your relationship with God. The more we align ourselves with His plan, the more effortlessly things fall into place. So no matter what you are waiting for, a breakthrough, a dream, a new beginning, know that it is already on its way. Trust that God's plan is greater than anything you could create on your own. Trust that every delay is a setup for something far better. And most of all, trust that His timing is always perfect. What is meant for you will never pass you by.